Yeah, I know this is cookies. I just want to make sure I'm not looking at yours because I can't label. And you can see I've got two different builds and stuff like that with the Michelangelo. One with damage control mod 2 and one with propulsion. I'm assuming yours is the one with propulsion. Yeah. Okay, perfect. That's all I needed to know for right now, Pac. Okay, so Michelangelo, 320 millimeter main battery guns, quite sizable for a cruiser. She's a little unique though in that her main battery is in the middle of the ship. It's between the conning tower and the aft bridge, and obviously the funnel as well. So they put all the big beef in the middle of the ship, and then they've got smaller caliber guns fore and aft. Those, of course, count as secondaries. And those secondaries, as you can see, are SAP. So they are very spicy secondaries. It encourages people to play more for a secondary build. And thank you, Pockington. Yes, these middle turrets are 360-degree turrets, so you can just, keep your guys spinning around and around and around and around if you would like. She's got fuel smoke. Nowhere near as good armor as Napoli. Do not play the ship expecting her to be Napoli. And she's got hydro, which is a very interesting combination of consumables, smoke and hydro. Napoli doesn't have that. The Venezia heavy cruiser line doesn't have hydro. So bringing hydro in allows you to dodge torpedoes. It also allows you to find destroyers to sneak up on them, and then you just gun them down with your secondaries. Don't even fire main batteries and laugh. All right, so Cookie's build. Cookie is going all in for the secondaries. Auxiliary armaments, damage and flooding. Personally, I would go for engines here or hydro boost. We'll talk about that in a second. Secondary modification. Damage control, I don't like damage control personally, in a cruiser especially. You're not going to need to worry about burning and flooding less, in my opinion. You need to worry about maneuvering more to dodge shells or get in position.
Does it burn 60 seconds? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I don't even know if that shows it on this.
It shows it on the side.
Where?
Right column at the bottom. On
right
the
column.
survivability.
Duration is 40.8 seconds with...
So it is 60.
So yeah. So if we change it to that, it's 48 seconds. Unless he's got another skill that reduces... he does have the fire reduction. So it is 60 seconds. Yep, it's 60 seconds.
Makes it a bit more viable, but the rudder shift is so bad. I think
Is that the battleship burn or is that the battle cruiser burn?
It's the same. There is only I think there is one exception with the Graf Spee that burns like 45 seconds, but everything else is either 30 or... I think Stalin got changed to 60. Might be wrong though, but...
So you were just talking about maneuverability. Rudder shift time of 14 seconds is abysmal for a cruiser. Absolutely abysmal for a cruiser. I always say, as a rule of thumb, I want under 15 seconds for a battleship, under 10 seconds for a cruiser, under 5 seconds for a destroyer. So that is, in my opinion, not good. I would rather put the steering gears module on here, and Pac will talk about yours individually later, but I would rather put the steering in this. Also for the reason that angling is so important on this ship that you can't afford to be caught flat-footed. So I think this is a very important choice. But anyway, you went with that, so we'll leave it like that. You got concealment and then auxiliary mod for your secondaries. Fine. Now, your hydroacoustic search and your smoke, in theory, you want these two to be running around the same time. So when you pop your smoke, you can pop your hydro, and then you can push. So it's very important that you have these two working in tandem. I saw a question in chat asking, should I try to extend the smoke on my Michelangelo? The short answer is yes. The long answer is only if you can make it work well with the hydro. So for example, you do have the ability to put the smoke module in slot 3. Let's take a look at smoke duration right now. Its cooldown is 142 seconds, and its action time is 48 seconds. With he does have consumables enhancements up there, and probably does have, yeah, he's got the flags going too. Okay, so it's going to be active for 48 seconds, and then it's going to be on cooldown for 142. Together, that's going to be 190 seconds of cycle time. Think about it that way, 190 seconds. Now, let's look at the Hydro. Hydro cooldown is 114, and action time is 121. So that's 330 seconds. So you're off by about 40 seconds between the two.
You could Hydro mod. That brings it up again.
You could Hydro mod, but right, that makes that disparity even greater. So to me, now let's add the smoke module and let's see what that does. So we've got 114, 121, so that's again 335 seconds. And then what do we have here? We've got 58 and 100. So now we're at 200 seconds. So you see there's still a huge disparity. 200 seconds, 330.
I think the big problem is like this ship is all about the secondaries. The main gun might as well not exist. So if you take the smoke mod, you're cutting the DPM in the range of your secondaries to get like what, 10 seconds more smoke?
Well, you go 58 seconds action time or 48. Yeah, 10 more seconds. Yep.
I don't think that is a worthwhile trade.
Well, it's not only your DPM, but it's also your range that you're giving up. So I would agree with you. You definitely want to keep this. I'm just trying to show people the thought process behind, should I take the extra smoke or not? This argument, by the way, is the same for Napoli. Just putting that out there.
I mean, Napoli doesn't have Hydro, so it's actually not.
What are you talking about? I'm talking about the smoke module here and secondaries.
Oh, I thought you like the Hydro and smoke discrepancy.
The Hydro goes in the second slot, I believe.
Right. Hydro is in the second slot. Correct. So,
my bad.
That's okay. But I wanted to focus on the question from, I think it was Electric talking about, do I want smoke on the ship or not? Okay. So, and then, like I said, the same thing goes for Napoli. You're probably going to go for a full secondary build, so you probably don't want the smoke module on Napoli either. Okay, let's go on to the commander skills then. You've got gun feeder.
Want the smoke, but not at the cost of secondaries.
Exactly. Smoke is good, secondaries better. Napoli, maybe you can say, okay, the guns are good, the torpedoes are good, so there's other things about the ship that, work out in its favor. All right, so you've got gun feeder to start, consumable enhancements. Again, this is chocolate cookies build. Superintendent, concealment, adrenaline rush, and then pack a punch for the extra 20% battery, secondary battery firing range. Where's your secondaries? Here. Almost, 10.5 kilometer with, whoa, you did not take the secondary? No, you did. Where is it? There it is. I was looking at Ship C for a second.
They are not as they're a bit shorter than the Napoli ones.
Napoli, it gets up to almost 12, doesn't it?
11, I think.
Okay. Either way, yeah, I agree. So Superintendent is nice. It gets you an extra charge of your heal, gets you an extra charge of your smoke, which is really important because you only have 3 charges, and gives you another charge of Hydro, which isn't that important. 11.04. Thank you, Electric. And I don't know if this is a standard captain or Sansonetti. If it's Sansonetti, you do get the buffed gun feeder. And of course, you get the talents from your kills and stuff like that, which won't really help much on this ship, assuming you're not firing your main guns much. So it's an okay build. This is a fine build. It's a 16-point captain. So why is that popping up? Thank you. Go away. Let's talk about some things that I don't like. I don't like that you don't have priority target. That's just me, but on a ship like this, I want to know how many people are shooting me so I know how much of a swivel to keep on my head on.
The problem is you can't really get this skill without sacrificing the smoke duration.
Well, not right now, right? But I'm just saying, like
21, you can't. Because your next 4 points are top grade gunner for the secondary firing rate. Like, that's not even a question.
So you get 10% extra secondary battery reload time, which is, I mean, again, very helpful for your DPM. Okay, so if you're going to go for that, now you lose top grade gunner, You can do consumables, and I guess you can go for the lazy incoming fire alert. Honestly,
consumable specialist.
You're probably better off with consumable specialist to get your smoke available sooner.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, Cthulhu, I agree with you, and that's the hard thing. And then you have to get rid of something in this build. What do you get rid of? I mean, everything synergizes so well here. There's just no room for it.
You really have to make the choice. No chance.
You want that extra consumable.
You really have to choose between the consumable enhancement at tier 2 and the priority target.
So I'm a priority target enjoyer. So for me, I might just deal with the less smoke and go with priority target. That takes you down to 44 seconds though, versus 40. Okay, so it's 4 seconds.
Like, honestly, you don't shoot your main guns on this ship. Like, really pretend that they don't exist. So for the most part, you're either charging and you're brawling and using your secondaries. At that point, how many people are shooting at you is basically irrelevant. Or you're not shooting your guns at all and you're dark.
So what you're saying is gunfeeder might not be that important.
Gunfeeder is maybe on it, but I'm saying the priority target doesn't give you that much value either. Because, like, you really don't want to be like somewhere in the open water kiting and having to angle against multiple ships shooting you. At this point, you're just not shooting, you're dark, you're getting closer into secondary range. And when you're the brawling thing, you pop your smoke and you have just secondaries firing.
So I guess if you train yourself to not fire your main guns on this particular ship, what I think Grunty's trying to say is you free up a lot more of your processing to then worry about, am I dark? Where's my position? Am I going to get shot at? Like not getting into those kinds of situations until you're ready to YOLO in.
Right.
Fair.
Because, like, if, for example, like, click the show turret angles. Like, this is the main problem with the main guns on this ship.
Yeah. You have to show flat broadside in order to be able to fire.
Look how bad these turret angles are. Like,
yeah.
You have to show so much side. So even if you see you get spotted, if you want to shoot your main guns, it's probably too late. You're going to eat the damage.
Okay. So, I mean, by your logic, though, let me do this. By your logic, I feel gunfeeder is also kind of a waste, right? Like, you don't really need it as much.
I probably wouldn't take it. The guns are too high. You're probably going to shoot AP most of the time. But like, if you want that, you could just swap it out over the incoming fire alert. If you want some sort of information when you're getting shot at. Or
that's your opportunity to pick up consumables expert. And then, there's incoming fire alerts. So you can do something like this for that extra situational awareness. Or if you don't feel like you need that, Last Stand might still be a really good choice, especially because up at the top here, he took damage control instead of engine and rudder here, right? So Last Stand could give him a little bit that extra maneuverability if necessary.
I don't know if the ship is prone to losing engines or rudder.
I don't either.
That's something you probably figure out when you're playing the ship. And
yeah. But I mean, I would
leave that point open, to be honest. If I had the high point captain, play the ship. And if you play it 10 times and you lose your engine or rudder in like half of these games, then you pick up the skill. If you don't, then you pick something else instead.
Yep. Hey, Malarkey. Cookie says Last Stand is useless on Michelangelo. All right. Let's move on then to flags. For signal flags, he's got fire reduction, heal boosting, smoke, hydro, secondaries, AA, and consumables. I'm surprised, Cookie, that you're missing two really important flags. One is detonation. I'm surprised you're not taking that. And two, speed.
I mean, you can easily drop the AA flag. Italian AA is garbage. It doesn't do anything.
Right. I would drop that and pick up speed and then pick up anti-det. You could make the argument for dropping the hydro acoustic search one as well, just because if it's 10 seconds less active, then it's 10% less active, then it's 10% sooner that you can use the next charge of it. So that's a flag you could possibly do without. Possibly, because it depends on your own gameplay style and stuff. Okay, well, let's get into the game, shall we?
Well, I'm gonna get a coffee while this game starts.
Go for it. You wish you had my wealth of knowledge in this game? Well, thank you, Malarkey. That's what happens when you play a game for 9 years straight as like the only thing you care about. You know, like, you know, that happens. Ah, we got a Weeb Captain. Everybody, watch out, Weeb Captain on board. Oh, I take very much pride for playing it for a long time. You take priority target, last stand, survivability expert, concealment expert, adrenaline rush, secondary torps, gun feeder, standard. Okay. I mean, if it works for you, Cthulhu, then there you go. I mean, we always talk about it's important to keep in mind when we're looking at builds, you have to choose a build that works for you and your gameplay style. And nobody can tell you that except you and your own experience. So I was talking about the ship being a little wonky, and here's how she's wonky. Look at the size. Look at the size of her main batteries. These things are massive, absolutely massive, but they're in the middle of the ship. So you have to show an awful lot of side in order to be able to fire them off. Your secondary guns are in the front and the rear, and those are the ones that will do most of your damage, and maybe your torpedoes.
Maybe get a better screenshot later in-game with the reticle where you see where the aiming point actually stops, how little you can really fire forward. It's a bit hard to tell by just looking at when you have those 360 turrets because they don't stop rotating when they can't shoot anymore. But you can still see it on the reticle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 1 second. I have to reconnect Warships. There we go. Now you guys should be hearing the audio for Warships. Apologize for that. Thanks for catching that. Checking a couple other things while I have it. Hey, Puddin's here.
The complaining can start.
Wow.
You didn't do my Schweifen one yet, did you?
Nope. I wanted to wait till you were here.
Okay.
Is that a complaint I heard here?
That was a question. You'll know when I complain. There's a lot of sighing involved.
You just do a snake while playing? All right. You guys should have audio now. And by the way, I want to remind you guys that I am streaming over on YouTube as well. So if you're watching on Twitch and you get an ad break or something, you can always flip over to the YouTube. That's the big brain play.
I would pop my hydro here knowing that the sub is here and pinging. There's also the smoke in the cap.
This is kind of risky, very, very risky open is what we like to call this. Oh, hello, Schultz.
That is...
A weeb captain, yes.
That is a gift for you that the Schultz came that close.
Yeah, I know, and is now coming out broadside like he doesn't know what to do. The big problem is you've got that sub right there who's been pinging you. I'm surprised he didn't torpedo you. He fired him off someplace else earlier.
So the radar went out. You could, if you look around and see if the Schultz is spotted otherwise, you could maybe smoke here to go dark. But then again, nobody's shooting you, so...
Look, there goes your secondary hits. And now you're clicking on the Iowa, of course.
I really like that you didn't shoot the main guns.
He shot them
Because
once or twice at the beginning.
Yeah, and then you stopped. That allowed you to go dark here. So...
Yeah, that's my own problem with this ship, is I fire my guns too much.
I'd really smoke here because you're in danger of getting spotted by the Iowa.
Not with the Iowa turning back in because he's scared. And now this sub is also a gift. You've had 2 gifts already, guys. He's already had 2 gifts. Wow. I mean, who did you pay for this matchmaking? I would be hitting F3 on him too, just to try to get your FDG to drop bombs and everybody else.
Oh, everybody was dropping on him.
Okay, I'd still do it anyway.
Attention to that.
Yeah, I would still do it anyway, just to remind people. Because there's always that one. Very risky sitting here like this. And here's where priority target could be helpful. You know if they're looking at you. Like, you know what I mean? If they're switching their guns over.
Of course, no disagreement here. But I would just do what Cookie did. I would have just like smoke here, let the secondary smoke. You could also like maybe pull forward. I think your secondaries will still arc over the island, but then you go naturally dark.
The problem is the radar should be back up from
Santander.
Shortly. Yeah.
Yep. And he's still in that same position. And I don't think your secondaries can arc over onto him yet. They might be able to. He's backed up enough to where they could.
Yeah, what I don't like here is like you keep reversing and your smoke is about to run out and you full broadside.
Electric isn't clicking a secondary target useless, does nothing. No, it still tells your secondaries that if they can shoot, they have to or they should. By the way, I love how the secondary turrets continue to move around like they don't know what to do here. Like that's okay. It's only these that were firing for a while, probably because the arcs.
So here's the thing with the clicking on cruisers. It is useless if there is only one ship in your range for the secondaries. If there is multiple ships in your range, your secondaries would prioritize the one that is closer. If you click on a ship because you want to shoot a certain one, you can force them to shoot the other ship instead.
Right. In that case, the Santander and Iowa, it's possible that the secondaries might have split fire. I'm surprised he didn't torpedo the channel just in case the Iowa got, you know, balls for a moment, decided he wanted to charge because he knew he was about to die. I'm also surprised, frankly, that you haven't been punished from this Iowa giving flat broadside like this.
I'll say clicking even while you're on a cruiser is just a good habit. For when you are playing something that does have manual secondaries, you're already trained. Your muscle memory is already there to immediately control click something.
Right.
So it's not like it's a bad thing.
And Putin and I are, we're old salts when it comes to this game. And once upon a time, you actually had a bonus when you would click on things. Remember those good old days?
Airplanes?
Yeah, exactly.
I still sometimes try to do that.
Me too.
Like, that's just how trained we were. You click on everything. And if it couldn't click, okay, fine, you moved on. But if it did, thank God.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you can't control and click airplanes anymore.
Nope. You can try.
it used to work that way.
Yep.
I
and yeah,
still think that was the golden age for carriers.
But this here is the big difference between the Napoli and the Michelangelo. If you were in a Napoli, you'd probably use your main guns now and shoot that Frederick down there too.
The FDG. Yep.
I really like that he's not doing it in the Michelangelo.
Honestly, at this point, he could probably afford to do it and just angle. But yeah. Like, who's got a broadside that's gonna smack him right here? You know what I mean?
I mean, the Iowa that is just about to die could maybe shoot over.
Yeah, he's looking at the Georgia in front of him and
probably, but like, just saying, like, every time you shoot your main guns, you put your ship at a big risk. It's not like stupid tanky like an Napoli is that gets away with a lot of stuff.
All right.
The big difference is AA is not what it was.
Yes,
I don't.
AA is much different.
It's not designed to stop the initial strike, unlike how it was. It's more or less designed to stop the secondary strikes from coming in on you.
Yes, which is what makes NAC so good.
This is here right now about the best you could shoot with your main guns. Look how much sight he has giving here.
So, I've been trying to say something, but this whole talk about anti-air, I don't like the fact that he let himself get detected first before smoking. I would have rather seen him start smoking first, in case he's not paying attention, that sort of deal. Because, frankly, if he gets detected and then he starts smoking up, the FDG is most likely going to turn out and try to run away. He didn't do that, he just sat broadside and died. So, good job there. That's another paid actor right there, but, you know.
I mean, you would have been shooting the Frederick to begin with and would be spotted, but...
well, yes, I would have, but what I'm saying is, if he wants to go the stealth approach, smoke before you're detected. It's no different than playing a stealth destroyer. Same deal. Smoke before you're detected.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is probably the best example we're gonna get. Like, see that? The gun still can't shoot.
Well, thank God he got nuked by the Gato.
Right, why? Because, I mean, that's Mihari. That's just easy damage, in my opinion.
Well, he can still punch you in the face.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what the saying is, you gotta get lucky all the time. He's just gotta get lucky once.
And he's not running death flags, probably because he doesn't expect to be shot at that much. The ironic thing is he got shot at a lot by that Iowa and didn't die for it. Go figure.
This is like basically a perfect scenario here for the Michelangelo. You just use the secondaries, you get a lot of damage, and he 90,000 is decent for a tier 9 cruiser.
Time extension.
But if you get in the matchmaking where you can't get that close and have your secondary shooting because, I don't know, there's like tons of radar, there's CVs going for you or whatever, I think the ship suffers.
You shouldn't have dropped the second one.
Always hold it for when he's spotted. Yep. Your Gato is using submarine surveillance, so it's going to keep the Bilal detected. This would have been a perfect time for you to use your other ASW drop. Also, I'm curious as to why you're charging in with 4 ships. I'm guessing just because it's the end of the match and you're about to have smoke up, so you want to have some fun. But you're not going to smoke, apparently. I would have smoked here, absolutely would have smoked here. Instead, you're going to take torpedoes and die. Or not. Either way, my finger stands ready to pause the game.
Yeah, I don't know why. That smoke was way too late. Maybe panic, maybe didn't realize it was up, I don't know.
Or didn't think he was going to take all those torpedoes from the sub. But your Gato did really good work there. He knew how to, I mean, not only did he take out, help take out this sub, but he also took out the Santander, who was a big threat to you with his radar. Although by that point, it was over anyway.
And that battleship.
I would take that shot here and take it out. Just
Absolutely.
because you can kill it with that.
And he gets a Kraken as a result.
Yep.
Okay, no death pick, so... Sag.
Seth was baited into thinking he had one.
Yes. So 139k damage. You got Dreadnought. You got your Kraken. Close quarters, which, come on, you should get that. Confederate even. Pretty good. Let's take a look at your team score. Oh, look, you came in first place. I'm shocked and appalled.
I'm mildly disappointed.
I mean, did that first sub and that Schultz just donated? Like,
totally.
Straight up donated.
Totally. I mean, the Schultz gave you so much of his hit points. I mean, that's almost a complete kill. That's a lot of base XP. The sub as well. Now, for those of you guys who don't know much about sub mechanics and hydro, I didn't get a chance to highlight it, but I'll mention this now, and you can always go back and rewatch the portion of the replay later on YouTube. But when your hydro is on, you'll catch the sub at a certain depth, okay? If the sub dives to maximum depth, you will always capture that sub if you're within 2 kilometers of max depth. So the sub went full depth and literally tried to sneak past him while he's got Hydro running. Just got spotted the whole damn time. So
I wonder if he didn't have Watchful on that sub and didn't even notice he was Hydro.
I do believe Hydro works at Surface and Periscope.
And not Surface.
Hydro, yeah.
Yeah, Hydro works.
Hydro does, okay.
Hydro from, we're talking about Hydro from the ship.
Right.
Yeah.
Hydro from the ship will work when he's on Surface or Periscope.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, 30 and 60, you have to be assured detection, which is 2 kilometers.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Unless that module still exists, where it adds a kilometer?
Nope.
No.
Target acquisition. That was such a great one.
Yeah.
I love target acquisition on my Kyiv in 1v1 brawls. But anyway, I digress. So, you know,
I had 48 shells with the main battery this game.
And that's it.
That's 6 salvos, assuming all the guns fired every time.
If you think about it, that makes the ship a very cheap ship to operate, right? If we look at credits and how much it cost him for ammunition, only 17,000. Anyway, let's take a look at your secondaries. 305 secondary hits for 69,000 damage out of 1,420 fired.
Yeah, that's like, I don't know, 20.
So you can fire your secondaries fire for free then?
Yes. Your only ammunition supply is, as you can see right here, your main battery shells, your torpedoes, and your depth charges.
Okay, anything you control.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, you know, a secondary cruiser like this. I mean, hey, you and I and many others who play this game, they don't care about how expensive, you know, repair costs are at a tier 9, but there are some who might.
Let me guess, Cookie, that is by far the best game you had in this so far, right?
You've got Aurora
I imagine for every game like this, you have like 3 where it does very, very little. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately.
And unfortunately, it looks like you're not doing the Commander XP modifier. The booster, right? You're not using any boosters.
Yeah.
This is after learning not to use
buff to the secondaries. If you have the 20-point captain, you can get the top grade gunner.
Yeah. Yeah. That honestly, 10% would help a lot.
Thinking of it like this way, on this particular ship, it might actually be worth it taking the top grade gunner before the adrenaline rush.
Because it's a flat 10%.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And since you're not using the main guns much, the adrenaline rush doesn't do much for the main guns. So it could, but that's only if you really talk about Michelangelo only.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this is the Christmas event captain that looked like Red Robin Hood. Okay. I don't know. I thought she was a weeb captain because she's speaking in Italian, I guess. Anyway, let's take a look at the replay render, and chat, I need some names for this. So we're gonna call this Michelangelo tiers, of course. Maybe tiers of the primaries.
Secondary painting, because Michelangelo.
Secondary painting.
I like that.
That's clickbaity.
Yeah.
Secondary painting. Mona Lisa in tears?
But Michelangelo didn't paint the Mona Lisa.
Oh, that's actually yeah.
Right. I saw what you were going for when you said painting the first time. You know. Unless you want to call it like secondary chapel. Pray to the gods of the secondaries. All right.
Yeah, the only thing I really didn't like here was this whole broadsiding thing.
I'm still so shocked. I'm still in the game, so I'm looking. You got hit 9 times by Iowa AP shells. 9 times for a total of 21,000 damage. So he penned and overpenned you like crazy. I don't know. When I play this ship, I get citadeled. You know, like it just happens. He also fired 3 HE salvos at you, or three HE shells, or hit you with 3. So there's that.
Yeah, the enemy team on that sea cap was not very good.
Yep. Tears of the Michelangelo. Sinking subs are a work of art. You got so many straight gifts at the start. He was too far behind. I mean, yes, but he also could have moved up. And I honestly expected him to move up, and he didn't. He just kind of sat there. But while that was happening, you even reversed to get more into his fire.
Honest, that Santander and that Iowa position there got so much worse when their destroyer and sub on that side just died immediately.
If they were there for longer,
they were trapped there because of that. That Santander on this island is a very, very strong support position for the destroyer and sea cap. Unfortunately, by the time the Santander managed to be there, the destroyer was already dead.
And frankly, that sub had no idea what he was doing. He was playing very much like me. His sub. I mean, like, I don't understand what his first salvo torps were on. He pinged you, but he never followed up with torpedoes.
Oh, I like Cookie's title.
Painted actors? All right.
That's actually pretty good.
Otherwise known as clowns. All right. Fair enough. All right. Well, is there anything else, or shall we move on to our next replay? All right. What I'll do